Good afternoon, everybody. Hello.
He hasn't got a key for something, and he just finds a key, and then he makes it. It just
It's clever, isn't it?
yanks it. Yeah, it just adjusts
As you
it
do.
a little bit so that it fits whichever lock he wants it to fit and stuff. Just think,
Oh, we should be waiting for one more, but
who'll be that?
Sandra.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I won't start just yet.
Maybe you ought to wait for
I'm just looking because somewhere on my social media I did a little mini video of a canvas repair a few years ago. So I'm just going to look, and I might be able to. But typically, my computer doesn't like working.
Well, there you go.
Bit like me, really.
It needs a little snooze because that's how I feel at the moment.
It really doesn't like doing more than one thing at a time. Even the whiff of something else, it goes, ooh, no. It's not for me.
Oh no, I can't do that.
Can't be doing two things.
Yeah.
I do. It does get a lot of. It gets a lot of use. These computers. Even just doing this is a big thing. But it's lovely to have you with us. Let me check who you are.
What have we got?
We've got Diane and Kate and Diana. So we're representing most of the UK most of England this morning. So we've got Dorset, Cockermouth, and Diana. Whereabouts are you from? I've forgotten. We've got 6 people, but not everybody can. Not everybody can work out how to comment. It depends on what device people are commenting from or watching on, isn't it? So I've got no Jackie. She's had to leave earlier to sort some stuff out. So if I've got a customer, I will have to. I suppose I'll have to serve them.
Room full of people.
Yeah, we're not used to it. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
It actually overwhelmed Tony for a while. He just
Da 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 da. So I'm just trying to find. We were talking about canvas repairs and things. And I'm just trying to find a video, and I will show you because I think I've worked out how to do that. Because in some exciting news, it's not exciting, but there are several lessons and art history lessons that Facebook will not allow me to download. However, I've discovered that the broadcasting software that I use to broadcast, if I play the video in full, I can record the sound directly off the laptop and record the lesson and then upload it. So I can do that, but it does mean that I cannot do anything else because the hello Rob, because the video has to play and I can't touch any other screen because whatever I touch will show up on the recording.
there are things around these things, aren't
There are, but I've only just realised this because I did a Thursday morning class, lockdown 1 of boxing hairs in pencil, and I haven't been able to download it. That's Sandra. Hello, Sandra.
I tell you what, it smells good in your downstairs.
What does it smell of?
Oh, all sorts of lovely things. Oh, here, naughty
There you go,
chair.
the naughty chair. I'm trying to work out when I did. So while you're all gathering yourselves, I will.
How are your
Okay.
eyes?
Fine, I've got a consultation for this one coming up. I'm really excited. I shall be cooking on all eyes soon.
Has it changed things?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Then I can see colours that I haven't seen
That's
for
what my
years.
sister said.
Yeah,
She hadn't realised she'd lost blue.
that's it. In red, in all the flames, gas fire, cooker fire, there's a blue flare, a beautiful blue. Can't wait to see it in full.
Oh, bless you. Right, I'm just going to show you a video. I will have to change. When I change screens, you won't be able to hear me, which some of you may be ecstatic about. You in the classroom sadly will be able to hear me, but only just for the duration of this 53-second video of me restoring a Victorian canvas. I've just got to wait for the computer to do its thing. It was a while ago. There we go. So that was a very quick video on something that took a jolly long time. Oh, East Sussex, Kate's. So yeah, the Diana's Milton Keynes, Kate's East Sussex, Norman's in Hanwell, and Diane's in Cockermouth. So we've got a bit of everywhere today. All of UK represented. But that took me, that restoration, it was a big painting, that sort of size, and that took, because it was in oils, about 3 months, I think, because it was sort of having to build up the layers and colour match and do all of that stuff.
Did you have old oils or new oils?
No, new oils, but artist quality oils, so the pigments were the same. So I've had to do a few like, hello Anne. Nice of you to join us. Well, it's a cute little one to do, but it will mean that we've got to have a darker background. You either have to have no background or a dark background, or we could do a little vignette. A vignette. We did an interesting gouache lesson this morning that I will quickly tell you about. It's only £10. A vinaigrette. The gouache class this morning was a landscape with a tree, but I did it on burgundy card because it was a complementary opposite. So that is the colour of the card we used. And then that, it makes your greens pop, you see, because it's a complementary opposite. But it also means we've got bits of pink in the sky without making pink. So that was... And Monday evening's class for watercolours, which you won't be doing because it doesn't get repeated. It's a one-off with these standing stones.
Which ones are they?
I think they're Avebury, yeah. So that was a total one-off. And yesterday's acrylic class was this house in Brittany, nestled against rocks on a cliff, with its back to the sea. It's
I like the way you've done that one. It looks sort of almost, there's lots of shapes that
yes,
go together.
And it is like that. It's exactly like that. It was very bizarre.
Is it in the style of somebody?
No, it's from a photograph, and the photograph looks exactly like that. It's really curved. Brittany, and it's, the house is called the house between the rocks, but it's in French. So it's very, very nice to do. Interesting challenge, something different. This is the last page on my sketchbook. I wasn't going to do it, but we decided it's the last drawing class of the month, so I might as well do the last page of my book and then new book. Kate, what's tomorrow's pastels? Mrs. Eager Pants. Hang on. It is. Oh, it's a tree with strong shadows. Remember, it's the. I can show you the reference. It's got like a building behind it, or maybe I didn't show you, I don't know. So that's the reference for pastels tomorrow morning. Ooh, I just love the shape of the, whether it will, how it will translate in terms of a picture, a photograph, we know what it will look like, but when it's a painting, will it look right? We'll find out tomorrow. Find out tomorrow. So, and then tomorrow afternoon we're doing the Wallace Monument in Stirling, with watercolours, lots of purples. because obviously Burns night yesterday. I've had me haggis.
Oh, it was Burns, was it, yesterday?
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's why I was dancing with the Scotsman yesterday in full regalia,
Oh.
wasn't I? When really,
Yes.
we were really, I thought, what's going on here?
Yeah, Burns night.
Yeah. Okay.
Right now, he is central, but that's because his tail. I won't move him about because it is what it is, and if you've printed it off and you're using it as a guide, I don't know whether I'd have him slightly off centre, but it doesn't matter. About 3 fingers up from the bottom is his bottom of his tummy.
His
So
tail makes him off centre, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, if he didn't have that tail, or if his tail was long and down, it would be... But he is the focus of the image. Oh, you said... You asked, have I been arguing with anybody today?
Yes.
I haven't today, but I did last night.
Who was that then?
Oh, it's just some stupid Facebook. I'm going to have to not look at Facebook because it just wakes me up. But they were doing this, like... joke, and I suppose it was a joke, but they were trying to make out that people that are obsessed with taking photographs of their dinner on social media is the equivalent of the 17th, 18th century Dutch still lives. And I went slightly different.
I saw that, but I think I flicked past
I said
it.
slightly different reasons why. I said the Dutch masters did it as a vanitas and memento mori, the futility of life. I said it's hardly the same as rate my plate, is it?
Exactly.
And lots of people agreed with me, and then somebody was accusing me of virtue signalling. And if you want to add virtue into this, you could say it was done because they wanted to show their wealth. I said no, it wasn't. I said it wasn't to do with wealth. I said I'm not virtue signalling. I'm just talking as somebody from an art history lecture that's recently just finished a lecture on Dutch still life masters, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. I don't comment on stuff if I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't comment on everything.
That's where you go wrong, Barry. Because on Facebook you're supposed to comment on stuff you know
nothing about.
Nothing about.
What? That's a lance prasado, isn't it? If I remember, we're talking about old words. I think it's a lance prasado. I'm gonna have to have a quick look. Or is a lance prasado? I'm gonna quickly look now because it's gonna annoy me because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, now's the perfect time to go onto Facebook then, isn't it?
Right, found me thing. Oh no, a lance prasado is somebody that turns up with no money.
Okay, yeah, I know lots of them.
Ultra crepidarian. That is someone who has no special knowledge on a subject but expresses much opinion.
Oh, there's lots of those.
That's Facebook. Ultra crepidarian. It's an old English word that we should bring back. So 3 fingers up is his body. Because of his positioning where he is on the paper, I haven't got enough hands and fingers to measure, so we'll have to work on the premise of the middle bit, I guess. So his little body, not his head, is 3 fingers tall and 4 fingers wide, and we'll draw an egg. Quite appropriate since it's a bird. So we can answer the question which came first. We're now drawing an egg first. Yeah, they're only have you ever seen one, Sue?
Oh, he looks like a little chick, really.
I never knew these birds existed. They are British, and I only found them during lockdown, where I was staring out my window at my bird feeders, and I had 2 or 3 just dancing around. And I thought, because I love badgers, and I thought, what are these cute little badgers with wings? Because they've got little black and white stripes, and they're so cute. So I then had to type it. I had no idea what they're called, so I then had to type in black and white stripy bird England, and then these long-tailed tits come up. So they're tiny. So they're blue tit size.
So, yeah.
So actually, they're a bit smaller than we're drawing it. Just a tiny bit smaller. Oh, they're so cute.
Do you know what the smallest bird is? British bird.
Wren?
No, goldcrest.
Oh.
I did it all.
I have seen one of them. They look like someone stuck a neon marker on their head.
Wow. I've seen,
So bright.
driving through the country lanes, I see those beautiful bright yellow
Yellow hammers.
yellow hammers. They're gorgeous. And we have got green parakeets in People's Park.
The parakeets.
They're loose and free and flying around, and occasionally you can.
On Facebook saying, has anybody lost a parakeet? And everybody says, no.
They live there now.
They live there now.
Are they flying down from London? So I think, is it London that there's loads?
There is
London.
loads in London, so we've got our own now.
Yeah, cool.
Right, now his head is about a thumb width. So I'm going to draw his head like that, and it's level with his belly, at least level with his belly, or slightly across.
Looks like a wonky snowman.
So it's about my thumb. Oh, a semi-melted snowman. Do you want to build a snowman? No. It isn't even snowing. I decided to stick my phone stand on my trellising the other day and do a time lapse of my bird feeder while I went inside for 10 minutes just to see what I got. And we'd got starlings, wrens, blue tits, and a lovely little robin.
There's a robin up in Marks and Spencer's now. There was one in Sainsbury's for ages.
I'm going to rub that out now.
Marks and Spencer's now. Living in there.
Oh, I've just rubbed the gap out. So, oh, now me rubbers fell in me tea.
Sorry.
Oh, it's because once I round the bottom off, it falls off things. So I have to flat on the drink.
posted a picture on Facebook of some plant-based chicken nuggets, and they were cut in half, and they looked just like
A putty rubber.
a putty rubber.
I'm sure they taste nicer.
Well, they looked awful, but as you say, I'm sure they.
Yeah, but a lot of eating is with your eyes, isn't it?
It is.
A lot of it
So if we think of his tail, they look a bit like wagtails, don't
Yeah,
they?
do.
Pied
That's what I
wagtails.
said,
But the wagtails don't have the really distinct black stripes on
yeah. I
their
don't think it's
face.
fluffy on the chest either.
No. So if we think of his
This is his winter plumage, isn't it?
Well,
his tail is about 5 fingers or a thumb width from the edge.
I wonder why he has such a long tail. Do you think there's a particular reason for it?
I think they do long flights,
Oh, okay.
and they how to wash the rubber. Yes, quite. Don't wash it in peppermint tea. Have you got the green line on the screen today, Sue? Have I got rid of it?
No, we've got a big smeary brown bit instead. So
Oh yeah, I have.
I wasn't going to say anything. But
I'll get the Dettol out. So yeah, the person that told me I was virtue signaling, and I corrected her and said no, that's not correct. Blah blah blah. She then deleted her comments, and now it looks like I was talking to nobody, which is just annoying. Let me see what I can find out about long.
Yeah, I swear to myself, I say I'm not going to get involved, and then I give in, and then I say something, and then
I know.
I'm just, I'm worst enemy as far as that's concerned.
Oh, so it's got 2 names, the long-tailed tit. It's sometimes called the long-tailed bush tit.
Okay.
It's easy for me to say. I can play you its song. That's its song. It's like a good chirrup.
That's a bit like a wren, isn't it? That
Yeah.
little kid, the wren 51, I think, is the one female do.
So it's not as melodic as a robin or something, but
And blackbirds are. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And noisy.
so the tail is bigger than its body. Very noisy, gregarious. Small, excitable flocks of around 20 birds. Now, I haven't seen 20, I've only seen 2 or 3. They're woods and hedgerows, insects and occasional seeds. There are about 340,000 in the UK. They're 14 centimetres long with a wingspan of 16 centimetres, and they're about 7 to 10 grams.
We didn't have a very good year last year because of the weather. We had box full of blue tits, and she had
pigeons in my garden.
No, they're monkeys, the pigeons.
Yeah, but I've just got two, and I'm telling myself they're wood pigeons. They're not the common.
No.
So,
Or you wouldn't have a common pigeon in your garden.
well, I would because I've got a common surname. So I.
So they're resident UK and Ireland, so all over there, and they winter in the Scottish borders.
Oh, really?
Nice
Hardy
breed,
little
they don't-
individual then.
Mm.
Hasn't got a very big beak, has he?
And you can see them all year round. But most, if you think of a robin or something, they don't have massive beaks, do they? So yeah, it's interesting.
I suppose it depends where they want to land, isn't it? If they're on a big tree, they'd have to have different type of food.
And I'm sure the tail would affect how it flies, wouldn't it? It would make it a bit more erratic because it wouldn't be very streamlined with the long tail.
Are they designed for bird feeders, these birds?
Well, they don't eat much seed, I think. No, it's nearly all worms and little insects and stuff.
Maybe that's why I don't get them in my garden. I get other things, but not those.
So his wing
Maybe they eat on the
is
on the
about
fly,
4
do they?
fingers. Yeah, I reckon they will do. So about 4 fingers long is his wing, and
Maybe that's why he needs a big tail.
it's basically a thumb width from the edge of his chest. Almost slightly diagonally down. Every day's a school day, isn't it?
Yeah, I was saying to my mum when I phoned her, I said we learn a lot in art class, but not necessarily anything art.
No, it's not always it's whatever's in my head. I used to work with a teacher that was like that. He'd never follow his lesson plan. If a child asked a question, but I think that's kind of nice because learning always used to go on, and if there was something happening in the day on the news, and a child was interested about it, we'd end up doing 10 minutes in the lesson about that, which I think.
Yeah, that's good teaching. That is.
I think if you try to strictly adhere to a lesson plan, who's going to benefit really?
Popular in the staff room, though, were you?
No, well, no, it wasn't me. It was somebody else. But he was a little monkey. The teacher was. He was the one teacher that would always have something to say in every staff meeting. So the ones that we'd go.
We just want to go now.
But he's a love. I mean, he's retired now. We're still Facebook friends. He's a lovely guy. But a nice teacher because he was passionate about passing on education rather than just ticking boxes.
When we had we did have the tree surgeons in the school, and I took the kids over to watch, obviously from a very safe distance.
Yes.
It just seemed an ideal opportunity to go and see something different and
Yeah.
to talk about it and why are they doing it. And all, nobody else from the school came out, and I was just like, that's really sad, isn't
Yes.
it? You can't use those.
Well, when I was teaching, it was the 2004 tsunami, and obviously it was all over the news, and the kids just wanted to know what a tsunami was. So we just we did a bit of science about how tsunamis work and what they are. Obviously not with all the horrible things, but there were loads of videos on YouTube that you could just see the waves coming in and stuff. So it was an interesting learning thing because it was on their news, it was on their minds, and I think sometimes if you don't address what's on their mind, they're still not going to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're worrying about what's on their minds. So you can get that out of the way, then you can do what you've planned to do. Right, hasn't he got a cute little, it's like a little black bead.
His eye.
Yeah. So for me, it's quite low down his head. He's about well over a little finger down and smack bang in the middle. How big is it? Smaller than a pencil.
He's got a bit of a quiff, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's a cutie, but he has got a tiny beak. But that's probably why they don't eat from bird feeders then, because they might be better on a tray bird feeder than a hangy one.
Maybe their beaks are too soft.
Yeah. I've got to embiggen his belly a little bit because he kind of comes out. His head, it all melts in, doesn't it, there? I think maybe...
A holly tree in the garden, and it's so funny when you see these little birds with a holly berry.
Oh.
And you think, you're going to swallow that in a runner? Really?
I know, I struggle with a baked bean.
The little ones can't do it.
So So it's like a pencil width, and then his little beak,
He's teeny.
and it's level with his eye. Mine's looking more like a cartoon.
Is it an oval, the top of his beak? It is, isn't it?
It is. It's like a little party hat.
I don't quite know what mine's looking like.
Chirpy, chirpy, cheep, cheep.
Is it where's it pointing? Is it pointing out? Down?
It's
I can't see
it's
you.
almost pointing straight across.
Is it?
It's level with his eye.
Now this is when I'd use Facebook to see what one looks like.
Yeah,
I
from a
can't
different
tell
angle.
You
what
don't know what
speak
you're
and
doing, do
what's
you?
better.
Well,
Oh,
you're
I
taking your
see.
glasses off to see. I'm putting mine on to see.
Yeah.
Mine has got such a big stomach. It looks like Mr. Greedy.
Ah, Mr.
Mr.
Greedy.
Greedy. I think he was. Yeah.
You see, that's them from the front.
Oh, right, okay, so it's dead oval. Yeah, it is pointing down, isn't it? That beak.
I mean, there's a little cute,
He looks cross-eyed, that one.
a cute little one.
He's been to those sort of stands you get at fairs with Let's Face Paint the Child.
But they are fluffy, aren't they? Don't worry, the screen's gone out of focus on purpose. By the way, if you're going to search for them, make sure your safe search is on.
What's that then, Barry?
Well, mine is not. And I can tell you, I have different kinds of birds showing up on my Google image.
Kinds of tits.
Really?
I had a weird thing. Sunday morning I got a text.
Are they clued?
No.
Just had to change my number, Mum. Can you put this in your contacts? And I thought, all of my children were at a wedding yesterday. I don't think this was one of them.
No, that's a bit naughty, isn't it?
Mm.
Well, I once, during a Monday evening class, I don't know if you were in the lesson, Chris, my phone went off, and then I think one of the students said, "Are you okay? Because you've gone as white as a sheet." And I'd got a text off my dead mother.
Oh my God.
Well, that's
And I messaged Jackie and I said, "This is weird." And she said, "Oh, I've gone all funny. I've had a text off your mum." So we'd all had one, but different ones. And it was because my nephew had borrowed my mum's phone was sitting down, in a cupboard somewhere at my sister's house, and his phone broke. So my sister said, "Oh, just use your nan's phone. It's fine."
Yeah.
But there were messages that she sent in the hospice where there was no signal. So
And they suddenly pinged
a
out.
year, 6 months later, they suddenly got the
Oh,
signal,
goodness
and
me.
they were released. And we, me and Jackie both got messages from Mum. And I messaged back and I said, "Who is this?" Whatever. And my nephew was really scared and thought I'd be cross that he'd got Mum's phone, which I wasn't. I was just sick to the stomach that why am I getting messages from beyond the grave?
Yeah, that's it. Literally beyond the grave, isn't it? Yeah. Oh,
And I
dear.
said, "I'm not angry. I just needed to." So he didn't reply to me. And I messaged my sister. She said, "Oh no, he was a bit scared that he thought you'd be really cross." I said, "No, not cross. I'm just trying to work out how I was getting messages from my mum."
From beyond.
No, yesterday on Monday at Art.
Yeah.
Sue, do you remember that guy come for?
Oh,
Sue's
yes,
birthday?
yeah.
So I went to the Bicester Garden Centre, and me and my pal were having a meal there, and there was Sue with her husband Paul, as daft as Sue is, and this other bloke, and I went, "Oh, you came to the art?" He said, "Yes, I did." He said, because he said Sue picked up my phone. So I said, "Well, be honest, I saw you stood at the door. I thought you were Paul." And Paul said, "I don't look that old." And this guy said, "I don't look like that, do I? Because they're brothers."
Funny.
So yeah, it's easy to pick up other people's phones.
It
isn't
is.
Sue can vouch for.
You know that his black stripe doesn't actually go around his eye. It goes around his eye,
And it goes filter off.
and then he's got a bit of a cheek.
Is it an eyebrow?
He's always got a little eyebrow, and then it comes out like that, and then it comes back out again.
He's got a little moustache.
And then his wing,
That's not a moustache, you're right.
his wing is about as thick as a finger. Rob, you do birds, don't you? You've got what is it you have? Is it cockatiels? Rob's got a lovely little aviary in his garden. Budgies, is it? I can't remember. I'm sure you'll tell me. I've seen them. I've met them.
I got locked in an aviary as a child and hugely keen on birds.
I got locked in Savers.
In what?
Savers, the shop.
Oh,
Sailors.
I thought you said sailors.
Is that why you've
Yeah,
got no
locked
money
in
in that people
sailors.
I'm
saying?
thinking, I don't think I want to know this story.
No, I was in Savers supermarket and I got locked in. And they turned all the lights off and everything, and I must have been in an aisle that they thought they'd checked, and I just stood at the till with my shopping, and the manager went, "Oh God, it's you, Barry." I went, "Yeah, I know, sorry." So they took my money and let me out. Thankfully, they let me out.
I've nearly locked people in the museum before now.
Oh, that'd be quite scary in your museum. Something like that, and then his
what
tail.
goes on in there when
Wow.
everybody goes
Wow.
home.
I've seen films about nights at the museum.
Exactly.
It amazes me how light a bird must be to balance on legs that are thinner than matchsticks. They're like cocktail sticks, aren't they? And also, he's precarious against those rose thorns.
Yeah, that one that's sort of in between his legs. Looks quite
Yeah,
dangerous,
don't
doesn't it?
squat.
Don't fall down.
Don't do squatting, boy.
Oh, look, I can enlarge the screen now. I've shown you that.
The legs in there?
No, not yet.
Oh, because you're just talking about them.
Yeah. In me talking about them is the readiness, the preparation, so you know that I'll be.
Look at, in other words, look at.
So we'll put the rose.
Oh, where's our
Stem,
green
no.
light going to end?
What is the branch? What is it? Roses grow on. Bramble. Bramble.
They're just roses,
What?
stems.
It is. Would you
Stems.
call that a stem?
Yeah.
All right then. You were right. I can't think. I've been trying to do this Wordle craze, and I'm rubbish at it, Sue.
I love
What's
it.
that?
Wordle, it's a free website game where it's only 5-letter words, and you have to put a 5-letter word in, and then it will tell you if the letters you've used are either in it, not in it, or in the wrong place. And then you get the next line, and then you have to try and guess what the word is in 6 moves. Jackie, well, she can do it like 3, 4, or less.
The most I've done is 4.
The best you've done, or the
most I've
the longest.
used. Yeah,
Oh, really? Sometimes I can't even get them.
I find if you do a word like, what did I use this morning? Reach, because it's got 2 vowels and.
Oh, I use point or noise
yeah.
for my first one.
And then different ones every day.
Yeah, you get different, and there's also one in French that Jackie does,
Oh, is there? Well, I'll
Well, she would.
and she can do that in just as easy. Oh, it's so annoying. And there's me, and I went to pick her up for art yesterday, and while I was waiting, I did Wordle, and I said, "Look, I can't get this," and I knew she'd already done it, and she said, "Do you want a clue?" "Yes, I want a clue." She said, "Oh, you're so chaotic when you're having to try and do a composition," and I said, "Yes, because I have to win, and I get so annoyed."
I think, but yeah.
Right, so this just draw a. Basically, it's a finger width where his legs are, under his tummy, and then about pencil width for the rose stem.
That's the way.
Bending
That's what I
off.
call them when they're digging into my arms when I'm trying
Do you
to
call
cut
them
out
little
my roses.
monkeys?
Yeah, something like that.
No, we can have it. There's an. If you enjoy your Wordle, Sue,
Yeah,
there is a free app called Word Us,
Word
and
Us.
it is Wordle, but an app, so you can do 1 billion a day.
Oh, okay.
I thought by doing that it would give me an advantage.
Yeah, that you'd get used to it.
Turns out no.
It's a bit like that lingo on that I caught on the telly the other day when I was eating my lunch.
I just can't
It's
think
like
of
really-
5-letter words sometimes. They go. I go blank. There's a lot,
Sometimes you can sit there and you only need one more letter.
and you just can't think
And
what
you
it
just
would be.
can't get it. You go, no, I'm sure there isn't a word that has got that
Yeah.
in it. There isn't. There just isn't.
I know, it's crazy. So he's got one leg that's really far back.
And they are so thin, aren't they?
And then he's got another one that's sort of...
And you can see underneath where his little talons are.
Yeah, but he's not got... I can't see very many toes, can you?
I can only see two, one on top.
Harry,
and one
birds don't
underneath.
have toes.
I've got one at the bottom, haven't they? The branches.
Feet.
Yeah.
What are they claws then?
Claws, aren't they?
Oh.
Toes.
I think there's two on the...
He's got... I need to see. I'm going to have to Google me long-tailed tit and
Yeah,
risk
see how
my
many claws
safe
he's got?
search.
Claws.
Ah, he's got a claw that's cockeyed.
He's got two really long ones hanging over,
Yeah,
hasn't he?
yeah.
And then there must be one around the back
There's
as
one
well.
up
There is, you can just see it at the bottom, can't you?
This
Yeah.
It's that one.
Yeah, they've got 3 at the front and 1 at the back.
Three at the front and one at the
Well, I
back.
don't know where he's hiding.
Look,
them.
see?
Yeah, there's one there. Oh yeah.
You can
There's 3 at the front.
I can only see one.
There's two at the front.
Is there?
Because the other one, if you look, see where there's the ones that got the branch?
Yeah.
Look up here. It's sort of doing that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What?
See the one that's going round the branch, the one at
Yeah.
the front? Just look to the right of it. That little space there is his, I think that's his claw going, you know, what do you call it when it's front on?
Yeah.
Shortening.
Oh, foreshortening.
Thank you.
Yeah, you see. There we go. You can see he's got 3. One, the middle one's longer, and then he's got a really chunky back foot.
Yeah. So those are probably the ones that are coming underneath.
Yeah. I dread to think of my Google history search now. Long-tailed tits and feet. I'll have a good look later. It's funny, isn't it? I think you're right with 4. But that left leg, I can still only see...
I can still
One.
only see one. Well, I can see the one that's underneath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got one under... It's like he's doing that, little pincers.
Yeah.
Yes.
One
Yeah.
underneath.
But he
one
can't be
underneath.
holding on with little pincers.
The other one's just back foot. It's just, is it, or is that a shadow?
Mine's a shadow.
Yeah. Is it?
But we know he's got 3, so I will put 3 on.
Oh, you're putting them on now.
He's adding them.
I'm adding them. But now he looks like he's on the twist. But they are on a twist, aren't they? It's like he's got his feet to the front and then he's turned to the side.
He might have lost a toe.
Yeah, could be.
A toeless tit.
Go on, put that in your search.
No! Can you imagine?
Yes.
Google, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just going to put a leaf near his foot.
Well, this is, you see, if this was an animal, we'd just shove some grass in it, wouldn't we? Or a, yeah, we could have a big leaf there.
We could put a big thorn in front of it.
Yes.
Big rose thorn.
Dear oh.
Because they're quite long.
And one at the back must be very long to go right underneath the...
But what's interesting as well, looking at the eye, you can't see the other eye on the side. Even though it's a 3/4 turn, I'd expect to see the other eye about there.
Yeah,
But you can't see it.
It's all fluffed out with feathers, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Fluffy little boy. Or, I don't know how you can determine the gender of a...
little bird of non-specific gender.
Yes. Because robins don't have different colours, do they? Magpie... blackbirds, I can tell. Because the male one's black with an orange beak and the female's brown. Duck, mallards, I can tell. Robins look identical. Apparently bald eagles are the same. Exactly the same colouring, except the women are much, much bigger than the men.
Well, you wouldn't want to mess with all of them anyway, would you?
No.
I mean, that's
Not...
the truth.
I wouldn't want to get close enough to determine if it was male or female, to be honest.
I'm actually really quite frightened of birds.
Are you? I used to have to rescue when we got pigeons come in the shop.
Oh, God, no.
And I had
No,
3 or 4 female members of my team, and I was only like 17, 18, and they'd go in a flap if a pigeon just wandered in, so I'd have to run upstairs and go into the window display room and get some fabric from the window display and come and pop it over the pigeon and then scoop it up and then run down the street, up the alleyway, the side of the shop, and let it go. It's happened in here a few times.
My friend next door when I lived in Northern Ireland, when I'd gone down her chimney, and she came running across, she went to Chris, there's a bird in my front room. I went over with a towel and just put it over the top and
I had to do that next door. It flew in through their upstairs. No, it came down the chimney
Yeah.
in
Made it
next
right,
door, and
yes.
their chimney's open next door because this shop and next door are identical layouts. It made a bit of a mess over the weekend, and then we opened the window, and I like got some fabric here from that I use in the window, covered it up, and then there's like shooed it out.
Can't do it.
They make a mess everywhere.
Pigeons are right monkeys.
Swear, I can't do it.
They're little monkeys. So I'm going to emboss today.
When we went to a fete and they had birds of prey, and I got to hold an eagle owl,
Ooh.
and it's such a magnificent creature. Just sat on my arm, just eyeballing me.
You see, they're big enough. They're not.
Yeah, and it wasn't flapping
and
around
stupid.
or anything. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just sat there looking at me, and it was lovely.
They're like the red kites. They've got like a 6-foot wingspan, haven't they? I mean, that's like me standing like this.
And are they? Is there more of them? Because I don't remember seeing so
Yeah.
many. But you see them all over the place.
When I lived in Bicester and I used to come through the back way to come to work, 8 o'clock in the morning, there was a family of 3 or 4 that used to circle around. But now I see them wherever I go. We've got loads in my village, and they're always around.
And they're over the motorway because they like the updraft.
Yeah. So it's lovely.
They've got rid of a few pigeons, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Loads about.
Good.
Yeah.
they do. They don't like pigeons very much, do they?
We were sitting in our garden last night.
Well, yeah.
And the lawn chairs out, and this little sparrow came down and sat on the back. And all of a sudden there was this blur around, and it was a sparrow.
Right, what I've done is I've just dabbed his chest and underbelly with a putty rubber. Now I've wiped off the peppermint tea, so we can emboss, because I didn't want lots of dark lines.
You can actually see the shape of the feathers. Can't you?
You can. Yes, you can see that each individual little, whatever those little bits sticking out the side of the feathers was called.
Joy.
Mm.
Every little
Embossing
bit.
tool, where are you?
Every little cracky bit.
Yeah, they crisscross, don't they?
Mm.
But it's thicker fur coming out of his upper plumage,
Yeah, he's got very, very, very fluffy, like a ruff, hasn't it? Those
so I don't need to do the black, but I am going to put in where the white is.
Oh, so you're not putting in the black?
I'm
bit?
embossing just where the white fur is.
What,
feather.
that stripe on his head.
So the stripe on his head, his cheeks,
Are you
and
gonna do all the birds, and it's going to take hours, or are you just going to do a bit of it?
no, I'm going to do all the bird.
Okay, so let's get started now.
You don't sound very enthusiastic, my dear. Okay.
This is a test on the eyes.
Oh yeah, if you can see.
I'm just doing it blind. I can't.
Well, you know roughly where the bird is, and you know roughly the direction of your feathers, so just shove it on.
Is that your artistic?
It's middle of the week, I really haven't got the energy.
Shove it on.
Just shove it on, and if it doesn't look like what is this, a long-tailed tit, just paint it red and make it a robin. Well, they've got shorter
Just cut his tail off and make him a
shorter
robin.
tail, yeah.
Cut his tail off and make him a robin.
So I'm
Crisscrossy bit, isn't there?
yeah, well, I'm doing just downward strokes for one, and then I'm going to do a few crisscross ones afterwards.
He's got sort of browny bits, hasn't he, around that the top of his wing?
Yes.
As well.
And he's got little orange. It's like orangey brown around his eye as well. It's a birthday party downstairs.
I know they were getting quite jolly when I came out. So.
It doesn't take much. I was invited, but obviously sounds like I'm the only one working. But that's nothing new in this building. I'm just lazy. On holiday all the time.
Have I got in with my bacon sandwich before it all kicked off then? Haven't I?
Yeah. very long-winded. You could use an emboss to just do it. You know where on the tail and the wing there's a few thin white lines. You could emboss with that, and that would save you time. It's one of those things, this, isn't it, where you spend more time now fiddling about, and that will save you time long term. Because I'll never forget the rebellion of the cobweb of 2019. And I went to do the coffee break, and they'd all decided that they weren't going to do any more embossing. And then when it came to the filling in, they all wished they had, because it didn't work.
I'm not sure I was here for that. Was I here for that? Was I tutorials? I missed that one.
I did do a cobweb. I can't remember whether it was
A rebellion.
a rebellion.
A rebellious cobweb or not.
That cobweb, because I was going to pottery at the time, because
Yes.
still keep going. I packed up after that, but every time we did a pottery thing, I actually did a cobweb on it. And the guy that took pottery had to comment. He said, "Why is it every time you do something, you've got a cobweb on it?" I said, "Because I know how to do a cobweb."
I was like that when I first learnt how to paint fir trees.
Oh, right, yeah.
I just shoved them in all over the place.
That's what Sue does, if you notice. She's very good at fir trees. She's often got a fir tree in hers.
So what, even if you were doing like a beach scene
Yeah, there's a
in the
fir tree in the
Bahamas,
background.
you
Yeah.
still got to have a fir
Yeah.
tree in there somewhere.
Yeah, you're not in England, it's somewhere else. Well,
Is it-
everybody used to have a fir, and then they sort of went out of fashion, didn't
Monkey
they?
puzzle trees went in.
Oh, yeah.
I love a monkey puzzle tree.
Yeah, monkey puzzle trees are lovely.
But our next door neighbour had one that was about 40 foot tall.
Yeah, I think they can get out of hand. can't
When
they?
I was younger, it's all pampas grass, and then there was that whole thing about
Oh, yeah.
pampas grass, something to do with wife swapping, wasn't it? If you had a pampas grass
And a
in
blue
your garden.
vase in the
Yeah.
window.
Oh, my God.
I think they went out of fashion a bit after that.
Now they're difficult to get rid of, once you've got one of those hanging around.
Someone's got to burn it out, haven't you?
My stepmother, who was not a woman of amazing brain, had 5 girls, and she'd go and put a red porch light up.
Oh, a red light there. Oh,
and
that was
we're
pretty
all
cool.
going, what?
Old Amsterdam.
Oh,
We had a school reunion I'm going back probably about 8-9 years now, and my father's name was Evans, Frank Evans, and the guys at school said that they used to come and stand outside my house and sing Frank Evans for little girls. So my dad used to come out and get out of it, and I never knew. It was great. But yeah, what you can do. So did they get a lot of boyfriends, those girls?
oh, we used to hunt in packs,
Yeah.
as you do.
As you do.
I'm not happy with this wing. Oh, actually, I've noticed that the white feathers do hang over the top of the wing, don't they?
They do it at the top, yeah.
So I will do that. Rosemary, I know you're not watching live and you'll watch on catch up. I bet you're tempted to shove a big tree in front of it, like you do you say every week. Can we shove a tree over it? Or
Conventional feathers, aren't they?
well, they are, but they're so tiny. I think if you look at feathers in a sort of microscopic sense, it's very much like that. He's got that little bit of white going along his back as well.
I'm under his belly, and I think they're long feathers.
They
They
are.
are long feathers, and
They are long. They look like, if you can get really close, they look like ostrich tails, without the peacock tails,
Peacock
without the
tails,
eye at the
yeah.
end.
I don't know what those feathers are doing. I'm lost now, totally.
he needs to be quite fluffy on the chest part, doesn't he?
You're not doing anything to the wing yet, are you?
I've just done some little white lines where the and the same for the tail. Just where there is white lines, it just saves a bit of time in the long run.
Gosh, little bird.
It'll keep you quiet for a bit anyway, won't it?
Tea time, isn't it?
Nearly. It's nearly tea o'clock.
Not that we want it to be.
It's usually stress
Are
time.
we,
isn't
are we
it?
going to get tea if they're all
You
partying
will
downstairs?
get. I will demand it.
Oh,
If I'm having to work, everybody else should have to. Have the luxury of having parties all the time.
Whose birthday is it?
A regular customer and friend of Kathy's, a lady called Anne.
That's nice.
I think it's a zero ending one today.
Is it a big, as they call a big birthday?
Yeah,
Big birthday.
A Decadian one.
yeah. I think though it's funny with language, isn't it? Because I think half a decade sounds a lot longer than 5 years.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? If you say it's half a decade, or half a century sounds a lot longer than 50.
I've been alive over half a century.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, isn't it? Because I was born in 78, but I've actually lived through 6 decades. 6 decades. 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties, 10s, 20s. 6 decades I've lived through. Don't work it out, D. You haven't got enough fingers.
What one could do with an embossing.
No, the other one's sharper, the other end.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing though, isn't it? Because you don't think of that. Like, if 1978 was only 44 years ago, but because of the decade, the way it works, and we're in 2022,
You've lived through how many?
6.
See, I've lived through 7,
Yeah.
I've lived through 7.
but I'm a lot older than you.
Yeah, isn't it weird? Isn't that weird?
Depends when you were
Yeah,
in the
in that-
decade.
in the
Yeah,
decade.
because I'm the end, aren't I,
Yeah,
of
and
the
I'm at the beginning
78.
of the 60s.
The
and
end
you're
of
at
the
end
end
of
of the 70s,
so,
yeah.
And I'm in the middle of the 50s.
Keep going. No, I saw something the other day that said it was about millennials. If you're a millennial, you've lived through 5 decades, and I thought, no, I'm not even 50 yet. How can a millennial? Because I'm on the cusp. I don't feel Gen X because they're all older than me. I'm like the millennials started in 1983, which is only like 3 years after I was kind of born. So
it's that weird thing, isn't it, about you're not one until after your first year.
yes. So I'm 43 now because I thought I was 43
You're
last year.
in your
40.
44th year.
Yes.
And that's when
And people get it wrong all the time, don't they? They go like, on your 40th birthday, you're in your 40th year. No,
No.
you're in your 41st year on your 40th
You're at the
birthday.
End of your 40th year.
Yeah,
yes.
When you get to 40.
yeah. It's amazing. I like.
Because it's when they come up with people like they say, oh, and so has had hit records in 6 decades. You think, how can they have done that?
Yeah.
And then you work it out, and they have. And it's,
Well, when you think like of actresses like Angela Lansbury, who started in the film industry in the
when
30s.
she was tiny, wasn't she?
Yeah, in the 30s or whatever. She's 96, 95 now. So she'll have been working in like 9 decades or something
Yeah.
ridiculous. And she's still working, which is amazing. Right,
Oh, I don't know what I've done, what I haven't.
No, I haven't. I've stopped.
I'm gonna
after
just
a while.
fade out me roses. They've downed tools now, Facebook.
Yeah,
So
we're done.
they've grabbed their pitchforks and they're demanding drinks. So I suppose we ought to break. Everything stops for tea. Are you having a cup of tea, Sandra? And you're having a hot chocolate. D, you're a hot chocolate.
I'm a hot chop today.
And you're a latte. Now, will Kathy get these right? She's been getting them wrong lately when she guesses downstairs, especially if she's had a
I
prosecco.
paid for mine though.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, you know, sometimes she's sneaky because she'll say, "Oh, I'll guess, shall I?" And I don't know that you've paid and ordered them, so she'll read it off her list and get it right.
I paid in advance.
You do, but don't worry.
Depends on how much prosecco she's had, like you
I
say.
do this change thing.
That's all right. Right, I'll go.
Well, because I had bacon, I just added it onto me lunch meal.
That's an idea. I could come down and have lunch.
Oh, yeah.
I think I might do that on Friday morning for a hot.
Yeah.
Because I was working this morning, there's no point in going home,
No.
so I just come and have a bacon sandwich here instead.
That's some money.
Well, I've got my pattern making course on a Wednesday morning, so I'm completely frazzled by the end of that.
Oh, so you've been at it all day then by the
I
time you
really
get
have.
home.
I tell you, this pattern making lark, it's so technical.
Where'd you do that?
I do it online. It's a
Oh,
lady, she
okay.
actually lives in Clopperby. We do it on Zoom.
So is this pins and bits of cotton and stuff, or how do you...
You actually draft out the pattern for a dress, because I made my dress in a coat
Yeah.
for Ellie's wedding. And that was really scary, because I just started off with a piece of paper.
My mum used to, but that's how it used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, my mum she was artistic, she was clever. So I, in the 60s, designed my wedding dress.
And she made
And
it.
so she just got a bit of newspaper out and off she went because she didn't have patterns in those
No.
days. But I'm glad, it's lovely that it's an art that's keep going. I mean, it's something that I never inherited. I can do her drawing, but I can give me a needle and hoop.
But it's way more technical than I thought it would be.
Well, my mum wasn't technically minded. She wasn't up into exams, so
Oh, you still can?
I suppose you can put what you want into it, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I made a white trouser.
do
Well,
they do need to work at school anymore?
no.
No, I didn't think
Don't
they
they?
did.
Oh, so that.
I used
gosh.
to do it.
Yeah, we had made it was you know when you have those dresses with the knickerbockers underneath.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah, no, I did that.
Well, we had to do needlework for the first term, and we made an apron and a tea tray cover
Well, that was handy. Who uses tea tray covers now?
I know.
with a pocket for a napkin.
Oh,
Very
lovely.
sophisticated.
And then we
Sell that
used
on flogging.
and then we used our aprons in cookery.
Yeah, that's
There you go.
and that's perfect.
Did you? We used to do domestic science as well.
Yeah, that was BS,
And
yeah.
one of them was where we did the laundry lesson.
Yes, we did. Looking at laundry marks and stuff and what they meant and what.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do that.
We did all that.
You know, how to iron a shirt,
Yeah,
starching, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, we did.
I really wanted to do metalwork, but it wasn't even
We did
an
metal
offer.
work.
Oh,
I did
no,
metal
'cause
work
I-
and woodwork.
No, because I went to a grammar school,
Oh, okay. I did metal work and woodwork.
so we didn't.
But then we did needlework and I made a pair of trousers
Yeah.
and a blouse.
Yep.
And what else we made?
Putting in sleeves and
Yeah, I only did it when I had to. I didn't do it for O level or CSE.
But you
So
used
that's
to do
only.
it.
But that was quite sophisticated. Really,
Yeah.
a pair of trousers, I thought. But that's what we did.
Well, I did it, I think, up until O level.
yeah.
And I wish I'd carried on, but my stepmother said, well, you just sew with a hot needle and a burning thread, so it's no point. And it was another one of the things that I didn't have the confidence, whereas I could have. But I didn't.
Mind you, that might have brought the burning desire out later on in life to prove her wrong, which
Well,
she might have burnt it out earlier and not want to do it now.
It's-
So
That has come true in a lot of cases.
yeah, and that's that's a positive out of a negative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember my father saying, well, you've got to help her. And I said, well, okay, I'll go and ask. And she said, well, there's nothing for you to do because all you're good for is cleaning the toilets and you don't even do that properly.
Nice.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Not a nice lady. Which was a shame. Yeah.
How old were you when?
My mother died when I was 5.
Oh, that's. Can
And
you remember them?
vaguely, very, very vaguely. And Auntie Kate, who was actually my father's cousin and who nursed my mother, married him not a year later.
Oh, okay. So you were quite small when.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you.
But you know what? I mean, people say that. But But one of the things is when you're really, really little, everything's normal.
Yeah, that's it. You've got no basis of comparison, haven't
You
you?
don't question
That's your
it, do
life,
you?
and
No,
So
yeah.
that was
Yeah,
that was the way
that
it
was
was.
normal for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't feel the
No.
you know, I wish it was normal because
That was normal. That was
Yeah.
all you knew. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a blessing in a way, isn't it? That's why I said kids are so resilient most of the time.
oh
They're
massively.
yeah.
Kids today are very different to what we were,
Yeah,
aren't they?
yeah.
Exceedingly different. Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even go to her funeral.
Well, kids weren't.
No, no,
they,
no, she didn't have
kids
children.
never went
To
to
be
funerals,
honest,
did they? Back in the
thinking
day.
about it, I don't think my father could have coped.
No, probably not.
I don't think he could have coped with us then.
But today they wouldn't think of, because it shocks me sometimes. I think, look at those little ones then, but they wouldn't think of not. And why shouldn't they? It's
Well,
just
no,
a different
because it's part of
thinking,
life. Well, it's part of life, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, it's
So I tend to think why add to the trauma because you know funerals are all weepy and crying and heightened emotions, and little ones will pick up on that. And just why do you need
sometimes
to
they
add
are
that into
yeah,
the
but
mix?
sometimes they can be the strength. It's bizarre.
Depends on the child, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You know
and it
it's
depends
your
on the
child.
funeral, because I took my children to a friend of ours' funeral, and he had a what they called humane,
Humanist.
humanist
Yeah.
ceremony, and there was a jazz band that walked his coffin up to
yeah.
the natural
Yeah.
burial ground,
Yeah.
and it was just photographs of his life, and there was my kids with him, and
Yeah.
all this,
Yeah.
and it was absolutely lovely. And I think, you know, if you're going to introduce your children to death, that was a good way to do it,
Yeah.
because it was a real celebration, and they all had a whale of a time.
Yeah.
You know, and it was great, really, really good.
Yes, I doubt my mother's would have been.
No.
No, I think
That was
I
sort of
think
back
our
in the day.
thinking was that because I lost my husband not that many years ago, and my young grandchildren went, and you know, I was concerned for the children.
Yeah.
And my little granddaughter was 18 months, and she got a programme here. She was dead proud, got a picture of her granddad on the front, and she was just stood there going, "Granddad, dead." It meant nothing to him. The other one, he was over the pew because he dropped his, and I was grabbing his coat and there was legs in the air, but somehow it humanised the whole experience.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
but everything's down to personal, isn't it?
got
How
to
you
be.
Because my
Yeah.
And
daughter,
don't judge.
no, you can never judge. 'Cause
my daughter
everything's
was about
different.
18 months old when my dad died, and
Yeah.
I was 7 months, 8 months pregnant with my son, and I don't think I could have coped with her there as
Yeah.
well. It would have been far, far too much.
I think that's. I don't think my father could have coped.
But it's a different era, the way
It
they
was
were
a different,
brought up.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's be honest, children seen and not heard is not a saying today, but it's what we all have grown up on, isn't it? I was certainly children are seen and not
And
heard.
it certainly wasn't
Think,
healthy.
No, and it's out, children seen and not heard, out, they say.
Yeah.
Because you think, what they're talking about, you just want to. But today, kids know everything, don't they? And it doesn't seem to be detrimental, does it? I don't
I think
think.
it is.
No, I think it's quite. I was
Yeah.
shocked many times, but I think it's for the better in the long run.
I think it's better. I do. I think that there's a lot of stuff that.
As long as they don't grow too bad.
No, but I think shielding them
yes.
from certain things is not necessarily, like you say, a good thing. The first funeral I went to was my nan's when I was about 24,
I was
and
about that.
I
Mine
was absolutely distraught because I'd never been to one before,
No.
and it was all kind of
No.
just, yeah.
You can't. Young people, it's difficult to. It's easier to accept when you're older
Yeah.
than younger. And I think that's just life, isn't it? It's harder to accept that there's an end when you're younger. When you're very young, you don't understand. But when you get to
We knew an amazing lady. Her name was Bobby, and she'd been dying slowly for years.
yeah,
And so she sorted all the funeral out and what she wanted and all the rest of it. And she wanted her son to play and sing Amazing Grace.
oh,
He was absolutely mortified
yeah.
because he could really neither play nor sing.
Oh dear! Oh, she set him a task.
And she thought he was marvellous. The sun
Yeah.
shone out,
Yeah.
you know.
Bless
he was
him.
wonderful, and this poor lad.
Oh,
And if he was feeling emotional anyway, that's not the
know.
best thing
no,
to be doing,
did he
is
do
it?
it? Did he do it? Did he do it?
He said, "I'm doing this because she asked me to.
Oh, yeah.
But please, will you sing along and drown
Yes,
me out?
exactly.
Oh, that's quite
Make
nice.
it loud.
Because I can't do this."
No, that is lovely.
Oh,
Actually,
bless him.
maybe she did it for that reason.
No, I think she
She just wanted it. Yeah.
she thought the sun shone out
She
of
thought
him,
it was,
and she knew he played the guitar when he played the guitar,
Yeah, you could have done it.
and he certainly didn't sing. Poor lad.
My sister was married to a Muslim guy in Turkey, and he died. And so when they had the funeral, it was full on.
Yeah.
She wasn't allowed in the mosque. She wasn't allowed anywhere near him, basically.
That's
And then
not
they
true.
just all ran down the road with him on their shoulder, you know, that they do.
Oh dear.
And
Is
when
it
they got,
cultural?
yeah, when they got to this, well, the first thing was that all the women turned up at the house and wailed on the doorstep, and my sister was like,
Oh,
"What on
I
earth
couldn't
is
go
going
there.
on?" And it was all his female sort of like aunts and grandma and all wailing outside the door, so that was good for start. And then at the actual ceremony, they carried him out of the mosque and just ran up the road, and James sort of had to follow on behind. And they got to the grave, and they were going to put him in the grave, and was, "Do you want to see him?" And my niece said she did, and she was about 8, and they unwrapped him so that she could see his face, and then she went into absolute hysterics, and my brother had to comfort her because my sister was like, and it was just, Mum said it was, I didn't go, but my mum said it was absolutely awful, and you know, very, very traumatising. And like I said, the women didn't really have anything to do with it at all. Yeah, it was just.
Is it something she came to terms with earlier on because marrying somebody of a faith like that, you would have to have some sort of...
Well, he wasn't particularly religious, but obviously his family took over when he died, and they gave him the full on. So she'd not really had an awful lot to do with it because
That must be so difficult.
he was.
They took it all over.
Yeah, and he was not particularly religious, so they'd not lived a particularly religious, you know, that sort of life. But yeah, I think it was a big shock. And for Josie, I mean, it was like they just said, "Do you want to see your dad?" And she went, "Yes." And then there he is, you know, great. Thanks a lot for that.
Dead.
And he was just like in this sort of like shroud, so they just unpacked him and let her have a look. And yeah, I think that freaked her out for a long time after that. But yeah, and then of course everybody comes back to the house and they all hang around for ages, and you have to feed them, and
Yeah. Because the wake's a big thing, isn't
and
it?
it just goes on and on and on, and they've got so many family members that just keep appearing, and oh dear, yes, it was yeah, I think it was like an eye-opener for my mum as well, and my brother. They were going,
I mean, I've been to many different funerals. My stepmother's was the worst because she, for some God knows what reason, converted to Catholicism
oh okay.
towards the end of her life. My sister and I said, "Bill, that was so she could just confess."
Get it all out of her system, and then she'd be fine.
But that was a full-on bells and smells,
Yeah,
and water
incense and
flying
all that,
everywhere,
yeah.
and all the rest of it. And then my cousin's husband, that was just glorious because there was no ceremony. It was just, let's remember Trevor.
That was the thing with Howard's. It was very,
Let's
very
just
like
remember
that. Yeah.
Trevor. And then it was in the creme, and she said, "You know, if you want to go out, go past Trevor and say goodbye." And they didn't drop him until after we'd all gone.
I mean, sorry it took a bit longer because it's
Prosecco.
all going on.
There you go. Is it all
Prosecco.
going? Is it all going on down there?
It is. I'm just giving it a nice bit of care.
Well, where's
I'm
ours?
just waiting.
I was just going to say exactly the same
We've
thing.
got little Skippy biscuits.
Where's our birthday cake?
It was gluten free and dairy free, and it tasted really nice.
No, I had a blueberry muffin when I was downstairs anyway, so I'm alright.
Well, I had to show I was invited to the party, so I had to.
You had to, yeah, get join in. Thank you, Barry.
That's for this week and last week.
Ah, perfect.
Thank you very much.
Just a little. That's all right. Thank you.
Do you want to put that on the tray? Because that'll go back down and...
It will.
Cheers.
I just had to stop myself from saying something to you, and then I realised it wouldn't have sounded right. I was going to say, show me your drawings. But, you know, show me your...
Show me your drawers. There you go.
Yes, show me your long-tailed tits.
Show me your
Yes. I was going to say, show me.
You really chose this bird carefully.
I didn't think about the
I think you did a lot of
connotations.
thinking about it.
Well, I think he's lovely. I like his little pink.
Who, Barry or the bird?
Oh,
My little pink bits.
Now you come to mention it. Let me look. Barry's bird. Barry's bird.
Yeah, Barry's bird.
Barry's got two beady eyes. So
It's funny, when I had to renew my passport, I did it online initially, and it kept saying we can't accept your photograph because it looks like because you're smiling. We don't allow smiles, and it turns out that I wasn't smiling, but my skin is so white against my ginger beard, it looked like my mouth was open and I was showing my teeth, and I wasn't smiling. So I had to go and pay to have my photograph taken at the post office because they didn't believe that I wasn't smiling. Budgies, Rob, thank you. I'm a bit late. I'm a bit late. But it's Budgies.
I had a budgie called Peter.
Peter the Budgie.
Yeah, a budgie called Peter.
Oh, we had a budgie called Bertie.
We had a canary called Joey. Had a wonky leg.
Oh,
Has your other half made you a cup of tea, Diane? That's nice. You've all got these tea slaves. It's very impressive. I haven't.
I don't have teeth.
No, I don't either.
I'm your tea slave today.
Not today, yeah.
I only have one.
That's why I like being in here after it myself.
I know, and me. Right, I'm going to use my dirty cotton wool. Oh, you can't do that, Dee.
I'll use this dirty.
A dirty stump.
So what are you doing all over the background?
Use my dirty stump. Well, we're creating a vignette, so we need to make it a bit darker behind.
So where's the actual meaning of a vignette then, Barry? What's a vignette?
Fade. Well, actually, there's two, because in photography you can have a pale vignette and a dark vignette. So basically, so it fades out towards the edges. Yeah. Yeah, just fading out. But you know, you want to sound a bit creative.
Yeah.
Spilt mine on your table. I could do this.
Spilt you what? You. Yeah, use your fingers. So when you see like greeting cards and things, and it's got a faded edge or it whitens around the edge or something, then that's a vignette. 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 I don't know where that comes from, actually. I don't know what the etymology of vignette is, whether it's French. I was going to say the et bit is French, but then I think the vign, is it Roman, Latin? Vinter, like Vinter is a winemaker, isn't it? And but that's not got a G in it, I know. I'm going to have to Google that up. So
You Google, Barry, have a look.
etymology of vignette. I love etymology.
And make a nice name for a baby girl, wouldn't it? Vignette. This is my daughter, Vignette.
Well, I'm terrible because when I watch Les Mis, I call it it's courgette and EpiPen. Oh, hang on, here we go.
Vignette.
So does this vignette go around the tail as well?
Mine's just going.
Yeah, go around the tail.
It's just going.
Oh, got little white feathers.
Oh, so originally it was a form of vine tendrils around the borders of a book page,
Oh, okay.
especially a picture page from the French vignette, Old French diminutive of vineyard. So it is to do with it is to do with wine.
It's like
Yeah,
a
and then
border.
like in 1853, it became a border that was of a small photographic portrait with blurred edges, very popular in the mid-19th century. So it's basically a literary sketch. So it does come from the French for a vine border around something. Wow. Everything, it's amazing, isn't it?
Useful information.
Well, you don't know where it might come on the chase,
It might.
or pointless. I'm rubbish at pointless because I keep forgetting that you're supposed to think of the thing that
Yeah,
nobody
that's
else would
it,
think
sure.
of.
Yeah. There's a new, I haven't seen it, but there's a new thing with Ant and Dec on Saturday night. Some sort of quiz program.
Oh, okay.
You can keep answering questions and the money just goes up and up and up and there's no upper limit.
Ooh.
But you have to keep on. And in the paper the other day they had some questions. Said, how would you have done on this? I blew out on the first question. It was something about the Kardashians.
You see, I don't know. I don't know popular culture.
No.
I don't know.
Dumb.
I don't know sport.
I don't know soaps.
I don't know politics, and I only watch Hollyoaks.
Yeah, and then when I looked at a lot of the other questions, I wouldn't have got them either because there was quite a lot about.
And then I feel under pressure if there's the arts questions because I feel I ought to answer those. Arts or art literature or art history, and then I get really upset if I can't get that one right either,
Waste of time doing it in the first place.
So you're not going to do it then, so you're not going to sign up.
I don't think it's worth me signing up. No. There was something about how many of Kim Kardashian's children's name begin with a K, or how many of something
Of the Kardashians.
begin with
There's
a K.
I only know Kim, Chloe.
Loads of them, isn't there? I have no idea, but yeah. So that was the first question. So that was like.
And that would have been the easiest, I would have thought.
Probably.
I wouldn't know.
No, exactly. Some other people would go, oh, it's dead simple, but.
But everything's simple. I was trying to say this because somebody was on TikTok. Somebody older was trying to take the mickey out of somebody younger who only just worked out how hair grows.
Okay.
She thought hair grew from the outside out.
Okay.
So like this bit, you're born with this bit, and you stay, and then it just grows on the edges, like a branch of a tree.
Yeah.
And then she was shocked to find out it actually grew from her head. And she said, but does that mean I've got hair inside my head that's coming out? But, that would make sense. That, I can understand. And they were saying, oh, how stupid.
You don't have to be young to be that stupid.
No. And it's also the fact that I said, but everything that we don't know, somebody else knows. So it's just knowledge. I said, so you could just be nice and not
Because there was one on Pointless
take the
other day,
mickey.
It was things beginning with U and another U in the name, and it was the house that Lord Beardstead purchased in countryside.
Oh,
And you go Upton House. Well,
yeah.
That's easy.
Because it's down the road.
Anybody else wouldn't have
Yeah.
a clue.
Well, no, this is it.
So it's
And there's always going to be something that we don't know that somebody else does know. And I think if you could treat that with kindness and not think somebody's stupid for not knowing what you know, because we're all, we're all stupid when we don't know something,
Exactly.
aren't we? Really?
I don't know love song. Used to.
Yeah, but you'll know things that I won't know.
Yeah.
Every Saturday we do a telegraph quiz with our friends, and it's quite frightening because so much of it movie references.
Oh, you see, I'd be out.
No, can't do it. And then they do things like say Czechoslovakian composer. No, who was the famous nephew of Liszt?
Okay. No.
What? Really?
Oh,
People know this
And
stuff?
do you know the answer?
I do now.
Oh, who was it?
It was Wagner.
Oh, really? You see, I wouldn't have guessed that.
My friend, she can quote film quotes.
Yeah.
And then she'll say, do you remember in that film we saw 10 years ago when this and this and this? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Because we watched it 10
No, I
years
haven't gone
ago,
over the
and I don't
Birdcage.
remember
Sorry,
it.
I've only just
She
seen that.
remembers all things like that and who said what. And
I'm
then
just
she
putting a little
oh,
dot in his eye with my what's it?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah, they're quite useful, those.
Yeah,
Doing what?
I've just put a little embossed dot in his eye,
Where's my emboss now?
so I can go with a 7B or something.
Oh, yeah, that white bit, the little top bit.
Yeah,
Top bit.
I can't find that. There's my 7B. I picked up the wrong thing. Because it's
fill that in.
so I'm going to do his dark eye now.
So I now is 7B.
Yeah. You could use a 9B if you wanted it nice and dark.
I haven't got them on.
No, I know, that's why I'm doing 7B, so I can do the same as you, D. But you have got a paintbrush.
I've got colours. Nobody else has got colours.
I know, and it's funny
I've got
because
colours,
you've picked
mate.
the only week to bring paint where we're doing a black and white bird.
Oh, dear God.
It's all right, for the benefit of our viewers online, Dee always attends our Wednesday afternoon drawing class and our Thursday afternoon watercolour class. However, today she's bored for her Wednesday afternoon drawing class, her Thursday afternoon watercolour paints, and not her Wednesday afternoon drawing stuff. These things happen. Northern Anne, if ever she watches that, she won't mind me saying, she used to turn up, because acrylics used to be fortnightly and drawing used to be fortnightly on a Wednesday and acrylics fortnightly on a Thursday, and they alternated, and she just turned up every week in the end because she couldn't work out which one, so she'd come every Tuesday and either come for a class or be sent home, or come every Wednesday and have a drawing class and go home. Bless her. Right, so I've got me a little beak.
What are you doing a little beak in?
7B. I'm going to do 7B a lot now. It depends how dark you want to go with him.
Oh, right, beak 7B. I'll do 6B. Beak 7B.
And his moustache.
No, I'm enjoying the nice variety of lessons that we've got now. We're doing pastels and gouache and stuff. It's quite exciting every week.
I can imagine so.
It feels like when I used to do, like, I was going to say when I used to do teaching as a job. Obviously this is my job, but I mean in mainstream education, where it was something fun and exciting every day. Right, so there's that dark stripe that you can just make out. I'm not sure if I've got a customer or if they're just leaning in my doorway. Oh, it's Roger. He didn't look like Roger.
Has he been partaking as well?
I think he's just been working. He has been working. Kathy hasn't had much prosecco. I did ask, but she did admit to knowing in advance what you all knew. Had to give my opinion on where Dudley was in relation to Birmingham downstairs, because
Were they having an argument about it?
well, they couldn't decide if it was directly below or to the side, and one person said it was southwest, and it is southwest of Birmingham, because somebody's
Is it? See, I wouldn't have said that.
yeah, you've got Birmingham, and for you Dudley,
Yeah.
and then my hometown, then Worcestershire,
Oh, okay.
because my hometown Dudley I think was Staffordshire or Worcestershire originally before the West Midlands was invented, because my hometown was Worcestershire.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Look to the right of his beak.
What's that blob?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not an eye. It can't be an eye, can it?
No. Oh, do you know what? Maybe. Do you think his beak might be open?
No, I think it is the eye, isn't it?
Those eyes don't bulge out.
Let me have a look on my screen, because I've got the digital. Version on here
I
now.
would have thought his eye would have been further back than
Yeah, I think his beak's open. He's mid-trill, but let me just double check on the original, because obviously we're looking at a photocopy, so it does dull things down, doesn't
It
it?
could be something in the background, but I don't know. It looks attached somehow. I don't know.
You always see so much more in it than I do.
I've got my husband
You've got
was
your
a
new eye.
tailor, and that's
Oh,
what
okay. I
he
was
used
going to
to
say,
do.
you've
you know what? Even digitally, it's a blur.
It's a blur. Oh, okay. Then so
We don't know.
we don't have to put it in.
No, because if I show you on the camera here, it's a blur.
It's the blur.
It's not an eye.
I'll tell you what, it does look like an eye, but it can't be an eye. It's a blur.
Yeah, it's a blur.
Alright,
Just ignore it then.
ignore it. Yeah, yeah. Those were invisible stitching, and that there was his really invisible stitching.
Oh, right.
Oh, you see, when I'm doing a pet portrait, I have to use one of these. I use one of these, you see, so I can do a pet portrait.
He couldn't do that because he have to wear his glasses.
But I have
as
to
well.
get so close to see. There's hardly room for me to put the brush in.
So you can see what your carrot is as well.
My dentist has got specially made glasses.
I was just showing them my jeweler's thing.
Lenses in the middle of his lenses.
That's a good idea, isn't it? So he is so dark. Do you know, I also have an embossed on the wing. On the wings of love. There.
It's got very
There's a few dark bits on the left-hand side, isn't there? Just little flicks. Aww. I'm a member of a bird watching group on Facebook, but I won't show them this because
never mind.
they'll be really... Oh, I've done it so I can look at photos so I can think, oh, that'll make a good bird for a class. Everything I do is for you lot. Oh, there's another Brian Adams singing it. Everything I do, I do it for you.
Oh, God, you should have heard the singing downstairs while I was eating a bacon sandwich.
Oh, what were they singing?
It was a bit of Wet, Wet, Wet.
Oh, which one? Good Night Girl.
Good night, girl. Exactly.
1994.
Oh, was it? I can't remember what the other ones were, but there was a lot of singing going on.
I only know it was that because that was on Now 28, and I bought that on double cassette when I was 14, and it was on my car in the car and home in my Walkman and everywhere. I took it on residentials because it also had the Flintstones theme tune from the Flintstones movie.
Oh, goodness me.
Aswad, Shine Like the Star. You know, shine like the star. Shine like the future wherever you are. And it had a few other things in it. Oh, Ace of Base, you see. They were big in the 90s, weren't they? All that she wants is another baby. Well, she has Gold Radio on, which is very much that kind of thing. Whereas here I have Birdsong on. And at home, on my digital radio, there is Birdsong Radio, you know. Yeah, so in my house, I will have, if it's a really grotty, wintry day, I will put Birdsong Radio on my digital radio, and it instantly cheers the room up, you know. But I think I've conditioned myself for that from having Birdsong on all the time in here.
And he's got sort of dark, fluffy under his tummy.
Yes, and that should help bring out the fluff a little.
I like his tummy fluff.
So I'm just going to sprinkle my, smudge my finger around. You singing Aswad now?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the trouble once you get an earworm, isn't it?
At least it's better than Postman Pat. I had that one the other day.
Oh, what? Not the new version, I hope, because that's rubbish.
The original. The original Postman Pat.
Well, your Molly would be a Tots TV
Oh,
and
yes.
Rosie and Jim age, wouldn't you? Well, you probably know this. I've probably already told you that Fizgog, who steered the boat on Rosie and Jim, John Cunliffe,
Oh, yeah.
also wrote Postman Pat.
Oh, there we go. There's another piece of information.
He's utterly useless. I can also give you the whole front spiel of Rosie and Jim, including the theme tune and where he goes, "Hello, my name's John. You saw me steering the boat earlier on, but that's not my real job. My real job is writing books. Books for children, just like you. I'm writing a new one just now. And it's all about the two rag dolls I have on my boat, Rosie and Jim. And I like to pretend they come to life. It's a cloudy day outside, so we'll write that. One cloudy day, Rosie and Jim were chugging along on the old rag doll. You see, I have no children, but my nephews are of the same age as your kids.
My kids, yeah.
So it was all Bear in the Big Blue House and Tweenies, Tots TV, Teletubbies, and all that jazz.
Well, you can tell the age of my children because I always wanted to have the round window, and I've got a round window in the house now.
Oh, with Hamble and Teddy
High
and
school.
Big Ted and Little Ted.
No, Zippy. Zippy?
No, that was
Zippy's Rainbow.
Wasn't that the round window?
The
Yeah,
high school was
window.
arch window, round window, square window.
Yeah, that's
Rainbow
it.
was
And Rainbow was
something
Zippy
else.
and
Bungle and George
Bungle and George
and Jeffrey,
And
Rod, Jane and
Clearly
Freddie.
Suspect,
Yeah,
weren't they?
Rod, Jane and Freddie.
I used to do a very good Zippy. Because it's noisy, you see. Could I channel my inner Zippy? Hang on. Oh yes, Bungle. Oh yes. Had to channel my inner Zippy then. Had to pretend I got one hand out and one hand up my back.
I used to hate Zippy. Used to get on my nerves.
He was annoying, but he was supposed to be annoying. George, though, was a bit annoying.
George was a bit of a, yeah.
He was just so soft and oh Jeffrey, you know. But then what did Bungle bring to the party? Not much.
A friend of mine met the guy on holiday that was Bungle.
But anybody could say, anybody could
Say
guess.
that, yeah. But he said, I'm on television. And they said, oh, okay, well, we know you. And possibly not. I mean, I don't know why he had to even mention it, but there you go.
Because I suppose he gets no glory, does he? Because you'd never see who he was in a bear suit.
No, exactly. Same as the Teletubbies, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know who they were.
No idea. And the boy that was the Sunshine's nearly 26. But
That's like the guy on the Nirvana
Yes.
stream, isn't it? How
yes,
old he is now, and the fact that he was trying to sue them.
yes,
Was he?
because he was a nude baby.
He was a baby and they violated his rights by taking the picture
But he did utilise that photograph and his glory for like 15 years.
Yeah, and now he's broke. He's decided he doesn't like it.
I don't think he'll get very far.
I don't think he has. I think he's been thrown out already.
But you know what I found really interesting? You know the snowman. The original song "We're Walking in the Air" for the film was not Aled Jones. No, it's a different choir boy, same age, but he wasn't credited in the movie. And then Aled became famous because he sang the vinyl version for the record, but not on the film. So the song the "Walking in Your Air" on the film is not Aled Jones. No, it's another lad, and they just didn't give him any credit ever. So he wouldn't have ever got royalties for it.
That's naughty.
That's sad, isn't it?
A bit sick.
He's got a few little flecks on his little chest. I didn't. Did you notice I did not sing "We're Walking in the Air" as if I was Aled Jones, because I can't do that.
You can't get up there.
No, not without sounding like Elmo,
When we were
which
in-
I can do.
When we were in Winchester at the weekend, we went to the cathedral.
Nice.
No.
Oh, really?
Boring
I've been there for
cathedral.
years.
Hereford Cathedral's supposed to be nice because it's got the Mappa Mundi in it, the
It's
oldest
sort
map of the world.
squat. Got a flat with a little flat. But inside is gorgeous. And we couldn't go round it because it was nearly evensong and they were singing. And I have to say that was lovely.
Oh, Diana said they did credit him in later copies, but
Oh,
not
okay.
not initially. Lichfield Cathedral's beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm not
because
really
it's got loads of it's got all of the marble statues of all of the apostles and saints and
Oh,
Peter
right.
Orty. Thank you, Diana. Peter Orty was the singer
That's the guy.
of the original "They're Walking in the Air" one.
He nearly did it,
Mm.
didn't he?
that's as high as I can go without being Elmo.
He's a bit cross-legged now.
I once sang Tragedy, the Bee Gees version, as Elmo on a karaoke night. Got a standing ovation for that.
Were they drunk?
No, I was just amazing.
They were just glad it
I gave them a concert, Sandra.
They were just glad it finished.
Yes. How true. I think that looks like one, doesn't it? I think I've got it.
looks like one.
Yeah, depends what one you're talking about. But there.
It does.
I've got a dark. You see, his legs are dark as well, aren't they? It's a very dark bird.
His legs are very dark.
Filling in a bit difficult.
The legs are going to be difficult because we're having to make up his feet, his toes, because we know he's got them. We just can't find them.
No, I've got to put that in my head now as well. We're walking in the air.
Floating in the moonlit sky. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. La, la,
I
la.
feel like giving him tougher legs.
Sturdy legs.
Yeah.
Give him some bother boots.
And give him some really tough leather on the boots.
But it is, you know, when you think about it, how if there's a really blustery wind, blustery wind, those spindly little legs will hold him steady, won't they?
They could get blown away.
Now, I will stick a couple of thorns on this, but I'm not going to stick the one between his legs because I'm not that mean.
Not happy with that one. Not happy. Are you still 7Bing?
Yeah. Someone playing football outside.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Well, they can stop. So all of the points. Well, that's going to annoy me. I was banging on the walls in here the other day because they do a thing at 5:30 when they get into their apartment next door, and it sounds like they open every single kitchen cupboard and slam it 47 times.
Is that somebody living in there then? Is that
They must be. Well, it wasn't because that was Roger's tattoo studio, but I think it's been converted back into a flat. So I banged on the wall with me brolly the other week because it was like it didn't stop for 45 minutes. I was just banging the kitchen door. I don't know, because surely you'd know what was in there the first time you opened it and slammed it.
They weren't doing that thing like Malcolm and Wise did, were they?
What was that? Was that the stripper song?
Stripper song, yeah.
That was cleverly choreographed, wasn't it? That. Well, it's 20 to 3 or 4.
20 to 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Nearly time. See
Do you remember the one where it was a porridge and they did the theme tune to it was either the cricket or Formula One on the pipes in the prison? I think it was
I think
Formula
I can
One.
vaguely remember. Vaguely. You see, there used to be a really cool Saturday morning programme when I was a kid called Kickstart, and it was it was about scramblers, scrambler bikes, and they were timed and that to go through woods and mud and hills and so. I used to love that, but I can't find anything about it anywhere. It doesn't exist on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, and I can remember the theme tune and everything, so I know it would exist because my brain is not clever enough to invent a whole theme tune. Maybe a show, not a theme tune. So I'm fading out my spikes a little bit. And then I will shade in my stalk. Did we say it was the stalk? Stem. Because if I called it a stalk, that would be very confusing because it's not a stalk, it's a long-tailed tit.
Yeah.
Oh, you see that I love watching the auto-generated captions for what I say because it makes no sense sometimes.
It doesn't make any sense when you say it, Barry, sometimes. So there you go.
Hey, do you know the Fraggles are coming back?
Yes, I saw it in the paper. They are coming back.
I think I'm gonna 5B or something for the next one for this stem.
Is this you're colouring it in now?
Yeah, but I'll less pressure as I get towards the edges, so it becomes.
Sort of got a groove.
It has, hasn't it? It's almost like a tubular kind of. I've never looked that closely before. It could be a blackberry bramble, couldn't it? Really,
It could actually.
it probably is. So we've got a really
Next year's buds on it.
pale one behind that I'll come and swoop down.
Do the shadow underneath. But be careful, don't hide his little claws from underneath.
No, well that's the thing. If you, I'm kind of steering away from shadow because his body isn't casting a shadow, is it? Which is a bonus. Are you away with the snowman there, Sue? Still, I thought so. I haven't seen the snow dog one. Because that's Raymond Briggs, isn't it? Is it Raymond Briggs that did those?
Yeah.
It's not Alan Alberg, is it? I always get those two mixed up.
I think I'm done.
Really?
I think if I mess about with it anymore.
Oh, that's good. Because you could smudgy stick other brambles in the background if you wanted to.
That's true.
I gave you a smudgy stick, did I? Or two
Yeah.
smudgy sticks?
I've got 2 smudgy sticks.
What are we doing on Friday, Barry?
Oh, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Sophonisba Anguissola.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
I've found more paintings by Da Vinci and Michelangelo to throw in the mix, because you'll have seen some of them before from another lesson. I watched a really good drama on Netflix, only a short series, and I think it's been on telly. It's got Sarah Lancashire in it,
Oh, yeah.
and it's called The Accident, and it's about a Welsh village where there's an accident,
In the,
a building collapse
Yeah.
thing.
I did see it advertised when it was on.
It's actually really good, and her Welsh accent's amazing. It sounds South Welsh to me because it's more lyrical than nasal.
It's yeah, she's a very good actor. I'll tell you what I did start watching the other night was that Responder with Martin Freeman. I just couldn't get over his Liverpool accent. It was
Is it good? Or?
well, it's very Liverpool. to the extent it's almost like, you know, calm down, calm
Calm
down.
down, calm down.
Yeah.
Are they? Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. A bit like that. So I didn't finish watching it.
Look over there.
Yes, exactly.
Billy Boswell.
Martin Freeman's usually good, isn't
He
he?
is.
Well, maybe he is. Maybe it's just me, and I just.
But there is that. I saw a program where they interviewed a mechanic about a gearbox, and he was from the Black Country, and they had to put subtitles on it because nobody could understand what the guy was saying. And I
have to
thought,
get my electric rubber out, so I haven't got white when I should have it.
Well, do you remember, did you ever watch Clarkson's Farm?
Yes.
The guy who built the stone walls and drove...
oh yes, I don't think.
What's his name? Gerald.
Yes, you couldn't understand a word he said.
Well, he couldn't understand a word. He just agreed with him.
Yeah, okay, Gerald.
Because I think that the rural Oxfordshire accent is very almost Cornish, Devonshire
Yes.
kind of. It's like what it was, you know, a bit of
What
Denzel.
happened would have gone, I know.
We went down here and I saw that down like the policeman in Hot Fuzz film that nobody could understand, and he'd got a very rural accent, so they used to have to bring him out to the old farm so he could translate. I think I like this. How's it going, Facebook folk? So you can see I've given myself a few more. I think they are a few more bramble lines, and maybe the hint of some smudgy stick leaves to set the scene. Yeah, it looks quite nice. You can see what I mean about a vinaigrette.
A vinaigrette. A vinaigrette.
He's nice and black. And I'm not, goodness me, I'm not very dirty.
No, Rosemary, you'll have to let us know when you do this, because I know you can't do it live. How dirty have you got this week? I don't know if I want to put a little bit of an eraser line on my bramble. So I've got pastels in the morning, watercolours in the afternoon, art history Friday morning, watercolours Friday afternoon, then Saturday's the free class.
Yeah, I'm working.
Oh yeah,
What are you doing?
it's a snowy cottage in Ireland in watercolour,
I can do it.
but it will be done. It will be on after, so you can do it on Sunday if you want.
I'm working Sunday as well.
What?
Oh good, I'm glad you're pleased, Kate, but you're correct. It is easy to spoil something when you keep just adding. It's the just adder comes and creeps in and eats your overworked work. The just adder. You pleased, Sue?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. There he is.
Oh yes, he's gorgeous. He's quite alert.
Yes, he is. Very good.
Like what's going on?
He's like, hello.
Yes.
Hello there.
What's happening here?
Look for the winter.
Oh, he's fluffy. That's
Oh,
nice.
he's lovely.
So you've got quite a nice darker
Yeah,
background behind that. I like his feet as well.
He's been feeding himself up, hasn't he?
Yes,
He has,
he's
yes,
definitely
yeah.
been on the.
Yeah, he's been munching.
Oh, that's cute. You've got quite a nice dark background as well, and I think that does.
I've worn your smudgy sticks out.
Yeah, I think maybe I need to do a bit dark. Yeah, that's nice. Lovely.
A bit dark around
Yeah,
here.
around him.
Yeah, well, that's what it should be, really. Let me use my finger. Because it brings him forward.
Yeah.
You see, it wouldn't work if we hadn't done a bit of grey behind. Because you need that contrast against his pale feathers,
Yeah.
don't you? You've all done very well. See, you could, I suppose, you could, if you wanted to, if you'd done it really dark and you wanted to give the illusion of leaves or stuff behind. I think I've done this before with you. If you manipulate your eraser to a teardrop shape or a pear shape kind of thing like that, you can print it out, look, and it looks like you've got leaves.
Oh, yeah.
and just dab. Dabbity dab.
A bit of eraser manipulation. I was actually really surprised when we were in Manchester how busy the town centre was on a Sunday.
You know, if you come into Banbury on a Sunday, you'd be surprised how many people are in here.
And you sort of think, why?
None of them are buying anything, but it's busy. Something to do, innit?
If you don't go to church,
You worship in the shops,
you can go to the shops.
but not mine because I'm not open. That's really nice. I've enjoyed doing this little one. So next Wednesday. Ooh.
Don't tell us it's another cottage.
It's not. It's a woman in yellow. Not that that will make any difference because you're doing it in pencil. Walking through a desolate field.
Oh,
Desolate.
Yes. Now, I don't know what that would mean because I wrote these a long time ago. So let me just see if I can find it so I can see if it makes any sense at all.
well, that won't be wildflowers then, will it?
No, maybe it's not even desolate because I could have been like, oh, it is quite desolate. It's quite.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's Ireland. And you can't see a face.
Excellent.
That's good. Oh, that's quite nice actually.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
The moor.
Yes. So that's next week's.
Kathy, come home.
It is a bit Heathcliff, isn't it? A Heathcliff with... It's the Wicklow Mountains in Ireland.
Ooh.
I just thought it was quite nice. I almost put that on as one of the watercolour classes, but I decided not to. Yeah. But you could add a bit of colour afterwards, couldn't you? Like a bit of a wash or something. So thank you very much, everybody. It's been really lovely to have...
Thank you.
have you just shoved bushes all over yours, Diana? Like a big bush. I look forward to seeing what you do. I'm going to take a photograph of this and post it underneath the reference image that I put up this morning. It's a bit of a race on a morning where I'm doing a morning and afternoon class because I have to get both of them on an hour before the first class starts because I won't have time to do it during. So it's like,
I want to see your one of the tree and the when you do it. Is it tomorrow?
oh, the pastels with the big shadows.
The big shadows there.
See, that could work in watercolours. Of course you can. I will probably not keep... Oh, actually, in the morning I will move it, but I will put it back there for when you sit there in the afternoon.
Do you need the space?
No, I can move it because I've got somebody else's watercolours from this morning's class here for tomorrow, so it's fine. It's fine.
You might charge your rental.
Yeah, no, I won't. I won't charge you rental. No, it's fine. It's senseless to take it back home and bring it back again.
Well, yeah.
So don't worry. It's fine. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful week ahead, whatever you're doing. And
Friday.
whenever you're online next, I will see you then. Or maybe you'll join us on the shop Facebook page for a free paint-along session at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning with your watercolours. Thanks ever so much, everybody. Bye-bye.